So what's the deal with Simple Bank? In this video, I'm going to give you my honest thoughts on it and tell you whether or not you should get Simple Bank. Hey everyone, my name's Kevin. I make personal finance videos like this all the time. So if you like that sort of thing, be sure to check out my other videos. And if this video helped you out, I'd really appreciate you giving it a like. Now let's jump right into it. So what is Simple Bank? Well, simply put, Simple Bank is a subsidiary of an FDIC insured bank, and it's online only. You can get a debit card with it, sign up online, and it offers a good interest rate and no fees on the account and really interesting budgeting tools, which really separates this account from other accounts online. I'll first break down what I think about the core features of the checking account and then give you my thoughts on the rest of it, including the budgeting tools, which I really think is the selling point of this account. First off, there are no standard account fees on the Simple Bank account. This is fantastic news, especially when you compare it to other banks out there, such as Bank of America, Chase Bank, Wells Fargo, and Citibank, which charge you a monthly account maintenance fee on your checking account unless you meet certain criteria. In addition, there are no account minimums on this account, and there are no ATM fees on this account too when you use any of their ATMs in their network. That's AllPoint network, which is thousands and thousands of ATMs across the country, including those you could find in Wal Mart and Walgreens. I would note, however, that they do charge $5 if you want a book of checks, which I find to be a little bit annoying because it is a checking account. You would think it would include checks, like SoFi Money does, by example, but it doesn't. So I would note that if you are a check user. Secondly, the Simple Bank account allows you to earn interest up to 2.15% interest rate. However, there are a few restrictions, but if you compare this interest rate to all other bank accounts online, it's going to stand among the best, especially when you compare it to other checking accounts, which a lot of times can give you 0% interest or near 0% interest, such as those from Bank of America and Chase. Now, in order to get the high interest rate of 2.15%, you must put your money in a separate account within the Simple platform called your Protected Goals account. It's a little confusing, but I'll explain what I mean a little bit later. It has to do especially with their budgeting and savings tools. Additionally, you must have more than $10,000 in the Protected Goals account in order to get that high tier interest rate. However, with that being said, if you don't have $10,000, if you have $10, for example, you could still get a phenomenal interest rate of 2.02% on your Protected Goals account balances if it sits within that account balance. Now, those interest rates are as of the date of this video, and they could definitely change over time, as interest rates on banking accounts have done in the recent past, having to do with the Federal Reserve and what they do. But as of today, as it compares to other bank accounts, it's a terrific interest rate on any of those account balances in your Protected Goals account. With all of that being said, if you do not move your money from the Simple checking account into the Protected Goals account, then you will be subject to the very, very paltry interest rate of 0.01%. This is terrible and in line with those brick and mortar banks out there and not very good. But because the Simple checking account and the Protected Goals accounts are both checking accounts and they do not have any restrictions on transfers between the two, you could do them instantaneously and you could do them as many times as you want per month. You can instantly transfer any account balance you have in the regular checking account into your Protected Goals account in order to get that high interest rate. So with all of that being said, it's overall a very, very good account to have. So you may be asking yourself, why is there this differentiation between the Simple checking account and the Protected Goals account? Why can't it all just be one account, one simple account, like other banks out there, like SoFi Money? Well, the reason why it has to be broken up this way is because of their unique budgeting tools that they have within their platform, some of which I think are actually very useful for a lot of people out there who are trying to budget and save money with ease. So let me start with some of the key budgeting features of the Simple Bank account. Well, the first one I already kind of went over. It's your Protected Goals account. So why do they have the Protected Goals account? Well, oftentimes you're going to be in a scenario where you're going to be saving for a long-term goal, or you want to have an emergency fund, something I highly recommend you doing. And if you want a little more information on that, check out some of my other personal finance videos. This Protected Goals account can actually serve to help you earn a lot of interest on a long-term goal. For example, if you're saving for a wedding, or you're saving for a down payment on a house, or a new car, you can put the money and earmark it and specifically tag it within the Simple Bank account to label it as a protected goal, a long-term goal that you're going to have. This may seem like a little feature, but just simply labeling accounts as protected can give you a mindset of being able to leave that money alone and save it for a rainy day. These little features I find to be actually really cool. The second feature I think is especially interesting. It's called Safe to Spend, and what it means is every time you get paid, your bank account is going to know what bills you have upcoming, and you're either going to manually enter them or it's going to recognize it with different analytics, and it's going to tell you, okay, you have X amount of rent every month, a car payment of $200, insurance of $50, etc. And it's going to deduct all of that from your paycheck and earmark it, and then whatever's left over is safe to spend. This is a really easy way to on the fly tell what you have coming up as an expense in the future versus what you have actually able to save to spend on different things that you want to go spend on. This is very similar to the envelope method of saving and budgeting that Dave Ramsey talks about a lot of times, and this is very effective for people who don't really like to budget, don't like to think about money too much, and want to just be able to say, I want to put things in autopilot and spend what I'm allowed to spend. It's basically a digital envelope version of that, and if you have your Safe to Spend integrated fully, you're going to find a lot of use out of it. Another awesome feature of this account is the shared account access that you can have. So you can actually create a separate account once you have a simple bank account with another person who has a simple bank account, and create a third account where you each share in that account. Now, why could that be useful? Well, for example, if you have roommates and you have to pay utility bills every single month, but you don't obviously want to share your general checking account with them, you just want to create a house fund for them, then you can do that if they have a simple checking account as well. And if you're also married or you have a significant other, if you're living with somebody and you want to share some but not all of your finances, this shared account feature can be really, really special. It's something I haven't seen other bank accounts offer with ease. And the actually interesting thing about this is you can actually set up a protected goal with someone else you have a shared account with. So you can actually earn that highest interest rate with another person. If you're saving, for example, for a wedding with your significant other and you want to be able to pull some but not all of your money, this is a really interesting account feature and I really like it. Some other unique budgeting features of this simple account include the fact that you can actually turn on a feature that's very similar to Acorn's Round Up, meaning every time you use your simple debit card on a transaction, you can elect to round up your transaction to the nearest dollar and then automatically sweep that money into a protected goal account. This is very useful. It automates your spending, and if you go out and buy a coffee for $4.15, it'll round up to $5 and sweep that 85 cents into your protected goal account. There's a lot of other little features to this account as well. A lot of analytics so you could see to where your money's actually going. You can actually take pictures of your transactions, tag them, so you can actually see what you spent money on. All of this gives you a pretty good handle on it. However, I don't really think that's too practical. I don't think a lot of people are going to be using that. They might use it initially, but kind of get lost in the swing of things. So the initial features that I highlighted, I think, are the most useful. There's a lot of other little features to this account, but by and large, the budgeting savings tools can be pretty helpful. So what are some of the downsides to the simple bank account? Well, as I stated before, there's obviously that 0.01% interest if you leave your money in the basic simple account, but that can be mitigated, as we talked about, by moving it into your protected goals account. What I think is the biggest downside is actually if you use your debit card for your primary spend, you're not going to get the rewards that you otherwise could get if you used a credit card. Credit cards can be a great way to save yourself tons of money and actually earn you tons of money on cash and travel. I haven't paid for airfare or hotel in over 4 years simply because I use my credit cards as my primary spending vehicle. I never, ever, ever spend money on my debit card, and the reason is because I don't get any rewards. If you don't know much about credit cards and you're new to the game, I recommend checking out some of my other videos. I have a few credit cards that I'd recommend for those beginning. For example, the Discover It credit card is a great card, has no annual fee, and you could earn 5% cash back on real categories that you'd spend money on, such as Target, Walmart, and Amazon for this quarter. I recommend checking out some of those videos if you want some ideas of what credit card to get. Secondly, you can't deposit cash into this account. Now, this is not unusual for an online-only bank account, but I would say there are bank accounts out there which are primarily online, have a similar interest rate, and allow you to deposit cash with some restrictions and in some locations. For example, Capital One 360 is a bank account that I just reviewed, and I recommend checking out that video if you want to have a bank account where you can actually deposit cash on and it's online primarily. Now, this simple bank account doesn't allow you to deposit cash, so if you're a person who gets paid in cash or has a lot of cash in hand, it may not be right for you. You can withdraw money from an ATM in their network for free, but you can't deposit money into any of those ATMs. So what do I think about this account? Well, overall, I think it's much better than the vast majority of accounts that people have out there. I like that it's free. I like that there's a high interest rate on at least a portion of the money in the account, and I like some of the budgeting and saving tools. But those can be found in a platform from like Mint, which I use all the time, which is free to use, and it actually aggregates your spending and budgeting for all of your different accounts, not just the ones within Simple. It'll take all of your different accounts, your credit cards, your mortgage, your student loans, any payments that you have, and categorize all of them so you could actually see how much money you're spending in different categories. I'll put a link in the description. Mint's really well known, but I found out about it a few years ago and it's really helped me out a tremendous amount. I also don't really like the complexity of the Simple bank account. It's kind of ironic that it's called Simple, but to me, it actually took a while to understand all of the features of this account. I prefer simplicity in my life. I prefer to have just 1 or 2 different accounts that I use. Me personally, I have SoFi Money, which I've recommended before, and that's actually a checking and a savings account combined into one with a good interest rate. And I have my emergency fund held elsewhere at Wealthfront. And I use my credit cards primarily through Chase Bank. I like to keep things pretty simple. I like to get the highest rewards I can on my spending, but I don't want to have a bunch of different accounts, and I'm not going to use the features on Simple Bank account because I am going to be using my credit cards on my normal spend. So what do you think of the Simple Bank account? Let me know in the comments below. It's an account that I think stands out because of the budgeting and savings tools, but not enough so for me to get it. Now let me know what you think in the comments below. I really want to know. Be sure to subscribe to the channel and like the video if it helped you out. I really appreciate it if you did. I'll see you next time. Thanks.